All right, so after taking the last week off, like pretty much everyone else has been doing, we have returned today to pet catchers because we have a lot of leaks that have literally just dropped a couple of minutes ago. Now, just to be clear, there is a lot of information, if not pretty much the entire update is going to be talked about in today's video. So make sure you guys go ahead, get comfortable, and let's waste no more time and get right into this. Now, like I was saying before, a couple of minutes ago, we literally got an announcement from Isaac breaking down the entire update that honestly, I'm sure a lot of you already know what it is because it has been talked about since we got the very first leak right after the Easter update. And that, of course, is the fact that we're going to be getting an Atlantis area. Now, this update that's going to happen tomorrow, April 12th, is going to be split up into two separate parts. So tomorrow, we're going to be getting part 1, which we're going to go ahead and transition over to my Discord so I can show you guys everything that's going to be in that part 1 update. And then exactly 1 week later, being April 19th, that is when we're going to receive part 2 of the Atlantis update. So as I mentioned before, here we are inside of my Discord, more specifically inside of the Rumble Studios Discord server. Currently for me, it is 4:30 in the afternoon, and this was posted exactly 20 minutes ago. And it says, "Hey everyone, I've been on vacation for the past few weeks, but I'm returning home shortly, which is why there's been a bit of silence. However, now that I'm heading home, I'll start sharing a bit more of the future plans." But let's give you guys the quick breakdown on what we're going to be getting tomorrow. It says this week's update is going to be the new Atlantis area. However, it's going to be split into 2 parts. Part 1 is going to have secrets that are constantly going in rotation. Secret pets in Atlantis will be limited and will be changed out with updates. This will always give you a reason to return. So there's always going to be a set of secrets inside of that area, and they will always change, meaning that they will be limited, never returning again, unlike in the arcade area where we now have all of these pets that thousands, if not tens of thousands of them exist. That will not be the case with the new Atlantis area. Underneath that, it says new quest giver based only around fighting enemies. They are infinitely grindable and will give you 1 magic pendant per quest completed, as well as other items. Now, this part is important because he doesn't actually show or speak anything about these pendants, but if you stick around till later on in the video, I actually have a couple of those pendants that I can show you guys. If you take a look right under, it says a new item being magic pendant, where he explains that it has a 25% chance to increase a random level 5 charm by +1 level, and it caps at level 10. This is extremely interesting because only 1 pendant is actually mentioned here, but I actually have picture proof that there's multiple pendants that exist, but I guess only the magic one is going to be making it into part 1. That's kind of interesting. Either way, that sounds extremely OP, and I'm looking forward to it. Then underneath that, you have a new title system, which as you can see here in the background, this is what the title system is going to look like. Very similar to how it was in Bubblegum Simulator and in many other games. If you take a look here, you have 1 in a million from Bubblegum Sim, Godly Hatcher, Godly Catcher, Godly Grinder. Like, there's honestly so many of them. And if I switch screens here, you guys will notice that there's also titles for the limited events that have already happened, being the Easter Champion as well as Invasion. Back to the list over here, it says new minigame, which we don't really have any information on. And then under it says secrets and Robux pets now tell you how many exist. This is honestly awesome. And again, I actually do have an image to show you guys, which it does say 509 exist in total, updated 8 days ago. Not 100% sure why it says that it was updated 8 days ago, unless that keeps track of the last time that one was hatched or catched. That would be actually kind of insane. Either way, again, coming back over here to the list, it says for the final one, weekend traveling merchants, similar to the Easter trader, however, different trade in options. So it's actually pretty straightforward. Currently in the game for the Easter event, we have the Easter shop over here, and this constantly changes every single hour. It looks like for this update, we're going to be getting a brand new one, being a traveling merchant that's going to go ahead and change multiple times throughout the weekend. And of course, give us a couple of different options inside of his shop over here, which I'm kind of interested to see if they end up throwing in prismatic elixirs as well as the Sundays again, because we already know how much people have abused that as it is. But I guess only time will tell. For the final bit here, it's going to be back in my Discord where he gives us an entire breakdown of everything that's going to be coming in part 2. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be showing you guys a couple of leaked pictures as soon as we're done going over this information here on the Discord. But basically, it says part 2 will be coming 1 week after and will be known as the hardcore update. This is one that a lot of people have been asking about, and that is, of course, the hardcore bosses. To give you guys the quickest breakdown of what is said right here, basically, inside of the Atlantis area, there's going to be an area known as the hardcore temple. This is where you're going to go to be able to unlock and battle up against every single one of the bosses that are currently in the game, that being Kraken, Slime, as well as the Hypercore. The catch is that they're going to be in a hardcore variant, and they're going to have completely different loot pools, mechanics, looks, as well as even pet drops. The biggest difference that the hardcore temple is going to have compared to the current bosses that are in the game is that they're going to have infinite replayability. As I'm sure many of you know by now, after running these bosses thousands of times like a lot of us have done, it gets to a point where you kind of already have every single one of the rewards. So unless you're really just AFK farming it or potentially trying to go after maybe like a rainbow mount, there really is no reason to run these bosses over and over again, specifically the slime, for example. Well, very similar to the Bruh quest as well as the Sailor quest, each one of these have a board that is pretty much infinite. Please ignore the fact that I'm only on quest 17 in the Bruh one. I literally have never touched this. I mainly focus on the Sailor one, so give me a break. Either way, the hardcore temple is going to have something similar to this, where you'll be able to run it as many times as you want while receiving rewards that are different or valuable to your account. Now, for the rest of this video, we're transitioning over to the Bubble Leak Discord server. I'm going to kind of rapid fire through all these pictures because a lot of them are just random stuff that is not going to make sense to you. But if we scroll back to March 31st, which is the very first time that we got any type of indication that we were going to be getting the Atlantis update, these items were uploaded, which are basically different types of seaweed, coral, and kind of different decorations for underwater. A little bit later on during that day, we also got ourselves these pillars and some more coral with seaweed. And then finally, we ended up getting a Patrick. Keep in mind, all of these leaks were being uploaded and worked on right before they went ahead and dropped the very, very tiny April Fool's update that we got. So if you notice, all of this stuff is kind of irrelevant. It's all for the April Fool's stuff. And then we get to the more relevant stuff. So over here, you have Pillar Roof. This kind of has changed, which is the reason why I'm sort of rapid firing through this, because as time goes on, a lot of these leaks get updated. Over here is the Abyssal Monolith. This is one of the new pets. They kind of went ahead and tried to color it in, but if I'm not mistaken, this is just kind of like a guess. It's not exactly what the pet is going to look like. The only thing that we know for sure is that this is what the model of the pet's going to be, just not what the colors are going to be. Again, scrolling down through the list here, you'll notice that this is when things start getting really interesting. So we have all of these different locations and decorations for the Atlantis area. And honestly, they all look really cool. We got ourselves a trident over here, which we now know is a decoration for the outside of that little pillar building. Then we have this over here, which was labeled as Atlantis entrance. This is more than likely going to be the way that we get inside, where you basically walk through this little tunnel here, and inside of the tunnel will be waiting for you the Atlantis portal. This image here is pretty much the first kind of look that we have at Atlantis, which, I mean, honestly, it looks really cool. But basically, this picture right here is what's going to be in the background of this portal here. You probably saw the image on my thumbnail, but this is more or less what it's going to look like, at least the portal section. Obviously, all of this is probably going to have a lot more decoration and stuff, but this is pretty much the general idea of how that's going to look. And now finally, we're getting into the stuff that was just released today. And I'm sure you already guessed it. There is going to be a brand new C bundle, 3,400 Robux basically. And it's going to come with 2 of the pendants, 3 prismatic eggs. It looks like 2 prismatic sundaes, as well as 3 prismatic tomes and 1 perfect cube. Then underneath that, we also have a pendant pack that's going to be available for 799 Robux. This one is the one that I'm assuming is going to be the magic pendant that was talked about. But if we scroll further down, this is a luck pendant. That's kind of the reason why I mentioned when we were reading the announcement that it was a little bit weird that they didn't talk about all of the other ones, because technically there is more than just 1 pendant, but I'm going to assume that this is probably being saved for part 2. Then as we go further down here, all of this stuff I've already shown you. The only other thing is this right here, which says there's no new currency in this area. There really isn't a need, in my opinion. Where shortly after, he confirms that in order to unlock the Atlantis area, it is going to be tokens to purchase. Extremely important, man. If you guys do not have tokens or you're trying to spend all of your tokens thinking that it's going to be coins, I'm warning you guys now, don't do it. Save your tokens. I unfortunately have been making the mistake of spending a lot of my tokens. I'm currently at 222 billion. Personally think it's going to be more than enough to go ahead and purchase the next area, but honestly, who knows, to be honest, because it could be a lot more than that, considering Isaac does know that the vast majority of us are pretty much AFKing the boss. Speaking of which, oh, prismatic elixirs. Egg elixirs, cherries. Oh man, okay, I need to stop spending. The point is, man, it's been radio silent now for over a week and we finally got some details. Really excited to read the comments on this, man. I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot of mixed emotions, but obviously, like I say always, these are just leaks. At the end of the day, they could go ahead and squeeze in some other stuff that we haven't even heard about or potentially even seen from the leaks. So I strongly suggest that you guys don't make your final decisions right now. Let's leave it for tomorrow when we're live, because your boy is going to be live for the update. Take the chance now to go down there and hit the subscribe button. And of course, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. We're back in action, man. I'm excited. Took a quick little 6 days off and we're back. We're back in motion now. I'm going to end the video off right here. It's already going on for way too long. Hopefully you enjoyed it. That's going to do it for this one. Like always, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.